What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with my Week 3 NFL Power Rankings. As always, I'll be breaking down all 32 teams and where they stand after Week 2 heading into Week 3. But before I get into it, hit that subscribe button down below to be entered into our giveaway at 500 subscribers. 32 are the Chicago Bears. This team has not looked good through the first two games, losing to the Bucks on the road. And what do you get in return with an 0-2 start? Probably an 0-3 start in Kansas City. Fields has looked not his best. DJ Moore's looked good, but he can't do it all. And the defense has been struggling. So this Bears team trending in the wrong direction, and there's nowhere else to go now that they are in last. The Cardinals move up one because of their tough loss that they took, up 21, below that lead to the Giants. But the fact that they were in the game and had a chance to win proves to me that this team is better than the Bears right now, because the Bears have not played competitive football where the Cardinals have, and they get the Cowboys at home this week, which will be a very tough game. 30 are the Houston Texans. They move up because of the Bears falling. And this team, they outplayed them. They just really struggled in the red zone, going 1 for 4 in the red zone. And 0-2 obviously could be 0-3 here going to Jacksonville, a much needed win for them early in the season. But Stroud has looked great so far in the NFL. You can see the game there, almost 400 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Nico Collins and Tank Dell are looking like very reliable options. And this Texans team does have some hope. If they can get the running game going and be competitive in games, then this Texans team can possibly gut out a few wins. The Panthers fall to 29 after their 0-2 start. Bryce Young has looked mediocre at best. He's got good weapons around him, but they just can't piece it together for long touchdown drives. Had to settle for 3 field goals last night in the game. But now they travel Seattle, which I will be at to break down this game. This team really needs to get it going here. The NFC South, they have a lot of teams that are really good this year, off to 2-0 starts, 3 of them. So the Panthers need to pick up a win here to keep pace. The Broncos moved down to 28 after their heartbreaking loss. They blew an 18-point lead and then come all the way back, throw a Hail Mary, get it, and then no call on the pass interference on the end zone. So a tough way to lose that game. But Wilson has looked much better. Marvin Mims made a huge impact with only having 2 catches. And this team has only had 2 losses by combined 3 points. So if they can go on the road and beat Miami somehow, they're going to vault right back up in my rankings. The Colts move up too after their win against Houston. Obviously, the big story for this one is Anthony Richardson leading the game with concussion after 2 rushing touchdowns. After he stepped out, Minshew only had 4 incompletions. Zach Moss took over, and the defense looked really good. And now they have their toughest test so far this season, going to the 2-0 Baltimore Ravens. And we'll really see what this team is made of. And if Richardson can play, that's a game changer. Patriots fall to 26 after a tough loss to Miami on Sunday Night Football. I think this is the best playing 0-2 team right now, not potential best. I think it's how they're coming out of the gate right now, playing some good football. Just had 2 tough teams to start with, the Eagles and Dolphins. Mac Jones has looked pretty good to me. Hunter Henry's been good, and I think this Patriots team can turn it around here. I think they are going to pull off the upset and go in Jet Life and win this game to get their first win. That's my preview of the picks, so make sure you guys come back to see all my other picks this week. But I think they're going to pull it off. The Raiders fall to 25, and not much to be said here after an awful game. Josh Jacobs totaled -2 rushing yards. They lost by 28 to the Bills on the road, and they get the Steelers at home in what should be a defensive battle. Vikings fall all the way down to 24, dropping 9 spots after their loss to the Eagles. They lost their second 1-score game this year after losing none last year. They only ran the ball for 28 yards. Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson all looked great, but they got to figure out a way to stop the run. They almost gave up 300 rushing yards. And if Austin Eckler is healthy in this one, then he might have a huge week against this weak Minnesota front. Jets also take a big tumble, 10 spots, after a very embarrassing loss in Dallas. The offense looked awful. Zach Wilson struggled. Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook, you can see there, totaled 16 yards on 8 attempts. So that's not good. The only thing that was good for this team was the 68-yard touchdown pass from Wilson to Wilson. Garrett Wilson took it to the house. That's the only positive I think you can take out of this week as they look to get back on track against the Patriots. 22 are the Titans of Tennessee. Overtime win against the Chargers. An exciting game at home on the new turf. The defense really stepped up in this one, forcing the Chargers to go 2 for 14 on third down. Maybe this is one of those surprise wildcard teams we're looking at the end of the year. Jacksonville's the heavy favorite to win the division, but if they can get consistent play out of Tannehill or whoever's quarterbacking this team, if he starts to struggle, the Titans could finish around 9-8, 8-9, and possibly sneak into the playoffs. Giants moved down 2 after their win against the Cardinals. This is because they were down 20 points to get this win, scored 24 straight, and Daniel Jones and company looked awful in the first half, but figured it out as the game went on. And I got to give him credit. 21, it feels like a fair ranking for him. But now they go to San Francisco to see if they can piece it all together or not just one half of football. The Rams move up 1 after their loss to the Niners. And now they go to Cincinnati, which should be a great game. The thing that did the Rams in for this one, no points in the third quarter. And that's what really halted this team from possibly contending for a win at home. Obviously, the big storyline from this one is Puka. Insane start to the season, 25 catches, over 200 receiving yards, and he's had, I think, 35 targets. Huge numbers. And when they get cut back, I expect those two to just absolutely dominate on the field together. And then Cam Akers obviously is another big storyline, looking to get traded possibly this week. That does expect him to be to a contender that needs a running back. Now the Browns and the Ravens could throw in their hat, and maybe even the Bills too. 19 are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're moving up quite a few spots here, 7 spots after their win against the Bears in a surprise 2-0 start. Mayfield's looked great. The defense limited Fields to only 3 rushing yards, which is tough to do. And Mike Evans obviously had a day as well, but can they beat the Eagles at home? That, if so, then this team is no doubt in my top 10, even maybe top 5 next week. The Commanders move up as well, 7 spots. We know how they were down 18 to win this game. Sam Howells looked great through the first 2. Brian Robinson Jr. could possibly win comeback player of the year, I guess, if you want to say, or most improved even. And 5 different players had 3 or more receptions in this one. So the Commanders are spreading it all around, really getting the most out of their deep wide receiver and tight end depth. Browns moved down to 17. Don't even want to talk about the game. It's more just Nick Chubb out for the year and how much he means to this team. Losing him is going to be huge for them. And now they're in trade talks for Cam Akers, possibly bringing Kareem Hunt back in, maybe even in Jonathan Taylor sweepstakes if those heat up again. Watson really needs to figure out how to play better, because you can't have that out of him last night. He was the reason they lost. A pick 6 and a scoop and score were the only reasons the Steelers won that game. And those Steelers, with the pick 6 and scoop and score, also totaled 6 sacks. So the defense really carried in this one. The offense struggled. Pickett, a so-so game. Pickens had an excellent game, taking a 71-yarder to the house with 3 other catches and almost 130 yards. He struggled out of the gate too, 74 rushing yards through 2 games. They look to get back on track here against the Raiders. The Seahawks move up 2 spots to 15, winning another high-scoring thriller against the Lions like they did last year. The pick 6 late in the 4th really turned this game around, but the Lions clawed back in it. But you got to give Seattle credit for winning this one in overtime and not letting the Lions get the ball. Geno played great. Lockett and Walker, obviously 2 touchdowns apiece. And they should coast to a win against the Carolina Panthers, and hopefully it's a good game that I can see. My Packers stay put at 14 after blowing a 12-point lead in the 4th. And this one was not on defense, I want to say. I mean, Love could have played a little better in the 4th quarter. They just disappeared. But not having Aaron Jones, Christian Watson, David Bakhtiari really hurt this team. And now Elton Jenkins is out a few weeks. So they need to get their consistent gel guys back if they want to succeed this year. Those Falcons who just beat my Packers move up 9 spots. And not much to say, except this is going to be a run-heavy team. Bijan and Tyler Algier, great games yet again. They go to Detroit this week, which should be another great game. And I think Falcons can get to 3-0 even. But they were a very balanced team. 237 passing yards, total 211 rushing yards. And it's going to be tough to stop this Falcons team. It's really going to be pick your poison and what you want to do. The Vikings play the Chargers this week, a battle of the 0-2, and those Chargers fall 1 spot because of their overtime loss to the Titans. They've lost 2 games now by a combined 4 points, 3 to the Titans, 1 by the Dolphins. 2 for 14 on third down isn't going to get it done at the end of the game. And you can see overtime losses, you can't do that. Allen and Williams all were on the same page here, but after that, it was kind of a crapshoot, and this Chargers defense was very, very let down here at the end. The Lions drop out of the top 10, just 1 spot to 11. Lost a heartbreaker in overtime. Obviously, the big storyline for them, Goff throwing an interception for his first time in 384 straight attempts. And Montgomery could be out a few weeks, so expect Gibbs to step into a bigger role. The no holding call on overtime, I think it was a holding call. A lot of people agree to disagree, but Hutchinson got held and it shouldn't have been a touchdown. But more often than not, Seattle was driving and we're going to score eventually. So I think if you want to face the facts, it was just bound to happen that the Seahawks were going to win this game. The Bengals fall to 10 here, and I'm not overreacting like a lot of people are in their power rankings. Week 1, yeah, it sucked to the Browns. They got stifled and shut out, only 3 points. But now lost a tough one at home to the Ravens, who always play them tough. And yeah, they're the biggest surprise at 0-2, but the offense finally showed up here. Burrow played great. Higgins looked unstoppable, and Jamar Chase really has had a slow start. So if they can figure things out this week against the Rams, if they can win that one, get back on track, put up at least 30, they're going to be flying right back up everyone's power ranking. So I'm not overreacting here. I think the Bengals are going to be in good shape moving forward as long as Burrow's calf doesn't bother him every game. The Saints jump into the top 10 after starting 2-0. First time since 2013 that they have started the year 2-0. They've held teams to under 20 or less points in 10 straight games dating back to last year, which is not getting talked about enough. This defense is elite, and they're a top 5 defense in football. You agree to disagree with that, but Derek Carr needs to play better if they want to win this week in Green Bay. It's a tougher defense, better offense, and Lambeau obviously is a tough place to play. But when you got guys like Taysom Hill and Tony Jones Jr., who's stepped in for Jamal Williams, and even Rashid Shaheed, I think has become his number 3 target, but very reliable. He has very reliable options with Olave, Thomas, and Shaheed. Carr will develop and become very good, I think, at the back half of this year. The Saints will win the South. I know there's 3 teams that are 2-0 to start, but the Saints, I think, are going to surprise some people and probably get 11 or 12 wins this year. The Bills move up 1 after their beatdown of the Raiders, a complete polar opposite of what happened against the Jets. The whole team ate this week. Defense played great, didn't let Vegas score a point in the second half. Now they travel to Washington, which would be a very good game against a tough Commanders team. Jaguars dropped 2 spots to 7 after a very ugly loss at home to the Chiefs. The defense played great, but the offense just was MIA, had to settle for 3 field goals, which could have been touchdowns. Zay Jones had a few. Ridley was just out by a step, and it was just a game of inches really for the Jaguars and them winning this game, and Lawrence playing a little better. But they'll look to get back on track here this week against the Texans, and which they take care of business. Dolphins move up 2 after starting 2-0, and they're playing very good football. You know, Tyreek Hill obviously came back down to earth after his week 1 performance, but Raheem Mostert has looked absolutely phenomenal in the first 2 games. They go to face Denver, in which Brian Robinson ran all over last week, so Mostert I expect another big game out of. And is this team now the favorite to win the AFC East? You know, the Patriots are 0-2, Jets are 1-1, Bills are 1-1. The Dolphins are slowly starting to gain on me here, play some good football. And, you know, the big storyline is if Tua can stay healthy, there's no doubt that the Dolphins win this division. Ravens move up to 5 after the win on the road against Cincinnati. And it was big for the AFC North standings. You know, Ravens now have sole possession of first place in the AFC North. Lamar had a great game. Gus Edwards, great game, and totaled over 400 yards of offense after losing J.K. Dobbins and even Odell early in this one. So the Ravens need to get healthier coming into this weekend against the Colts. And even if Anthony Richardson doesn't play, the Ravens are going to take care of business. The Chiefs stay at 4 with their win over the Jaguars. They, really struggled. 4 fumbles, and they lost one of them and had 2 turnovers with a Mahomes interception. Sky Moore and Travis Kelce looked like they're starting to get back in the thick of things. Chris Jones, we need to talk about that performance. Absolutely elite performance. A sack and a half, quarterback pressures. I think he had 4, and he was just disruptive all day, making Lawrence struggle in the pocket and roll out. He is a difference factor, and if I think they don't have him, I think Jaguars win this game just because of that effect that Chris Jones has on the whole entire offensive line. But they get to Chicago this week, and I think they're going to take it to them, at least put up 30 in this one as the Chiefs coast. The Eagles drop 1 as they fall to 3. They played very well, but the team that jumped them played even better. Played good. Swift and Devonta Smith also had great games. But you want to talk about running the ball, 259 yards running the ball. Pretty good. Not a lot of teams can do that. And, you look at Tampa, their defense has been really good to start, but it's the Eagles offense, and we know what the Eagles offense can do. So expect a high-flying game in that one. The Cowboys move up to 2, jumping those Eagles, and I think this team is right now the team to beat the NFC, not named the 49ers. The defense, yet again, creating more problems, forcing 3 interception. And the only time this defense really was broken down on that one long touchdown from Zach Wilson to Garrett Wilson, 68-yarder. And they're outscoring opponents 70-10 through the first 2 games. Dak Prescott's playing at an MVP level. Tony Pollard, awesome. He's playing great. CeeDee Lamb had another great game. And where did they go this week? They go to Arizona. And these Cowboys are going to just absolutely destroy Arizona. But then again, it is week 3, and you are going to see some upsets early in the year. So that could be on upset watch, but I don't think it's going to happen. At 1, staying at 1 are the San Francisco 49ers. And you can see their ranking by week. They've been here at 4, 1, and 1 now. And yes, it is good if the team's ranking is lower. They won now 9 straight games against the Rams in the regular season. Brock Purdy, McCaffrey, and Debo, yet again, great games. But their biggest hiccup in this one was going 2 for 9 on 3rd down. And the Giants, at home should be an easier game, I think, than the Rams because it's not a divisional game. And who knows even if they have Saquon on Thursday. If they don't have Saquon, I think they coast to this one. But if Saquon is present, I think they'll win by 7-10. But these 49ers, no doubt in my mind, are the best team in football right now. And it's hard to not say after the chemistry that this team built last year going into the playoffs. Purdy getting hurt really derailed every chance they had. And then now that he's back, they're picking up right where they left off before that NFC Championship game. So these Niners are looking tough to beat. But that's going to be it for this week's Power Rankings video. Make sure you guys come back next week to see where your team ranks. But until the next time, the Bench Buddies are out.